Oh yes. Happy Friday, everybody. Let's analyze the situation for Bitcoin. And I do have a couple of altcoins that I want to discuss today. There's a very interesting one, okay, that we could get a good opportunity if we do see some break of structure. And that's the one that I want to talk about later on throughout this stream. We'll keep it as a surprise for the next 20-30 minutes. We'll try and keep this live stream at an hour. Happy Friday to everybody. Much love. How is everyone doing? Hope you're doing great, guys. Let me know in the comment section. I'll go down below and read every single one of you right now as we do start this stream. Bitcoin doesn't look like it wants to form a higher low here. We're not getting very aggressive bullish CVDs. We are just rolling here to the downside. And it does look like we could test those lows, okay? It doesn't look too convincing. This would be a cheeky bounce if it does bounce from here when you are so close in hitting the low. You've hit the 0.88 Fibonacci. Very, very rare for a strong wave 2 here to retrace that much. This movement to the upside, not too convincing to be a leading move up, right? A motive wave. And it just overall looks corrective in this downtrend. So gonna have to wait patiently to see how we move down here, sweep up the lows, swing failure pattern from the low, from that low of the 22nd of June, or the point of control of the range that we had in 2024 and 2025, right? Which is this range right over here. Good solid support down here. For the moment, no signs of reversing, still rolling over. Price does look weak, so I do expect another new low potentially today, as we are so close to hitting that low. It is Friday, we're rolling down. I think today very much we could tackle that range. And we'll be discussing a few scenarios. And first of all, let's go through the comment section. Let me know your votes. Bitcoin recovery soon. Let me know your votes here. No, we are in a bear market. Let me know your votes here and then we can go through them. Staffer one, much love, my man. Andy, how are you doing today? I'm doing very well, my man. Always asking how I'm doing. I'm doing great. Hope you're doing well. Hope the rest of the community is doing well as well. Daniel Singleton, much love to you, brother. Thanks for joining in again. Many years following the channel, Daniel Singleton. Shout out to you, brother. Path Maria Vallejo, much love from Barcelona. Vamos, Barcelona. Let's go, Path Maria. Dimer Farugia. Hi bro, how are you doing? Can you please tell us your ICP price prediction? I have to say that I unloaded a little bit of ICP spot, okay? I have unloaded a little bit of ICP spot just to get some of my investment back. And we are hitting a major resistance, that's why. I'm obviously going to have a moon bag. I've sold about 30%, guys. I have to say it here live on stream. It was a bit, it was just a significant bag for me, and this loss was a bit too much. It's in the profits right now, so I just thought I'm gonna get my investment out. We are hitting resistance, right? It's all good to get continuation to the upside, but we need to secure some profits, or at least get our investment back. Okay, that's the whole game, right? We want to be defensive. It all seems good. We're breaking major resistance, but of course we got a lot of resistance above us. In the case of ICP, we got this entire valley area low of this range that we formed throughout 2024, and that valley area low eventually, right, where those high volume nodes is providing resistance with the lower highs, as you can see here. So I am bullish. I am going to give it a chance, right? Everything's gone extremely bad in this cycle for most of the cryptos. Of course, you got exceptions such as Zcash and some other ones, right? There are a bunch of them that have done very, very well, but not many, right? Not many have done extremely well throughout this crypto bull run. Of course, if you do take a look at Zcash, it's done a 1000% pump in less than 2 months, right? So some of them are doing absolutely great. Some of them not that great. I hold a bag of a few of them that haven't done extremely well. I mean, Chainlink and Ethereum, I'm up on average in between a 3-4x. So it's not really that much when you consider crypto, right? Getting those 10-20x gains in 2 years hasn't been the case, at least on my side. But I'm happy with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Chainlink. And now obviously ICP, which was my third largest holding. You need to secure their investment, guys. You need to secure their investment. All of it is in slight profit. And I'm leaving a moon bag, guys, leaving a moon bag. This will be a long-term investment. I think the project is great. We're breaking resistance. Now I have a kind of a free bag to the upside, okay? So it's just, when you've been buying for so many months, it goes against you and you have the chance to be in profits. You want to secure your investment, right? And have a free bag, right? That's how I like to do it anyway. So yeah, we'll go through ICP later on. There is another crypto that I want to consider for a day trade. Okay, on ICP the other day we mentioned the bounce that we could have got at the $5 range. Okay, it's a beautiful, nice technical day trade scenario. Okay, that can turn into a swing trade, right? Who knows when will be the last time that, the next time that ICP comes back down to $5. But it was a very, very good technical reason after getting the swing failure pattern from the range highs here that we're coming down into epic support after a huge volume breakout. So this is the zone to hold on ICP between $5 and $4.60, right? You give it a bit of a breather for volatility. And it did very, very well. We came after 24 hours to test those highs. Beautiful long. And there is one crypto that I think that can give us a very, very similar setup. Okay, it's also an awesome project. It's also been doing very, very well. It is trending, so you might guess which one it is in the comment section. I'm here to make gains, so I've checked a few cryptos. A lot of them are a little bit. Some of the ones that are trending, some of them have pumped too much. Filecoin has suddenly pumped very, very much in the last few days. FIL as ticker symbol. Not too interested in that one. I've been checking a few levels, but there is one that I want to check. Okay, we're going to keep it later after the Bitcoin analysis. All right. So let's just quickly continue through the comment section as we get people destroying that like button. Guys, do us a favor, smash up the like button. It is Friday. Hope you're doing well, yourself, your family, you're trading, and you just enjoy the show. We're going to just go through the things that we have been talking about. Nothing much has changed here on Bitcoin. Okay, this would be a cheeky higher low. It would be a cheeky higher low if it bounces from here. You can have another mentality, of course, right? Depending if you're looking for scalps or day trades or how much leverage you're using. But man, you can enter a long position, right? If we do believe that a significant rally is coming in the next coming weeks to potentially get up to 116K, right? That's a major target. When you have some lower highs here, it is kind of a major target. You might think, well, I'm happy to have a pretty nice far away stop loss, and I'm just going to remain patient for the next coming weeks, right? And, despite we form a higher low here or we claim the lows and then get the rally, I'm going to remain a little bit patient. Okay, let's see, because it does look like we could come and claim those lows. We're going to talk about intraday levels, and then we'll dive in through a crypto that I think looks very interesting. We need to be a bit patient for the movements to happen, but I very much believe they could happen very, very nicely. Okay, then we'll do a higher time frame Bitcoin. Quickly go through the comment section. Zcash just doesn't want to stop. Psycho, that is very true. Let's hope that ICP does the same, right? Let's hope that ICP does get 1,000% pump, right? Go to $60-$70 in the next 1 to 2 months, end of year. That would be awesome. That would really be that would fix my 2026 year for sure, based on the profits if it were to get to those levels. But let's stay realistic. For the moment, level by level, it is doing pretty good. So let's give it a chance. I took profit at $8.60 on ICP and looking to buy again. Awesome, absolutely awesome. Staffer one, much love. Oh yes, let's go. What's up? Divano Cyrus, how are you doing, my man? I thought it said crypto there. Much love. Theta, please. Theta looks, I did actually take a look at Theta. Okay, Fowler Network, we can take a look at Fowler Network later on throughout the stream. Theta, I've actually checked Theta. However, it hasn't got any attention in this bull run. Theta hasn't got any major attention. It's one of the OG cryptos from the previous bull run that did very well, and this cycle it hasn't done too well. I have checked it on the chart. Yeah, we can take a look at some different cryptos later on. We haven't had an alt season because people trade on exchanges rather than hold the underlying asset. Well, yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? You could have shorted so many dozens of cryptos and made so much money in this crypto bull run, right? Shorting was the game in this bull run, Bitcoin bull run. Shorting altcoins would have been the greatest thing eventually, right? To make the gains. First 105k after 96 and go moon 147. Interesting take. I'm going to give you my opinion here on the charts, okay? I'm going to give you my opinion. Hang on a second, because I have just... Yeah, give us a second here. We do have some news today, first of all, okay? Just want to bring out news Friday. Michigan consumer sentiment, that is coming in here in about 45 minutes. I wouldn't say that this would bring a lot of volatility. It could, but we do have some news in about 45 minutes from now, and just for you to be a little bit cautious at that time if you're looking to get into some trades as we do get that momentum. So let's cover the Bitcoin chart on the daily. All right, we're going to cover the Bitcoin chart on the daily. Just getting it loaded here, see if we can. And we're going to be talking about some levels and some scenarios, okay, on the Bitcoin chart. Hello to everybody, much love. I love how everybody gets jigger bearish at a range low. Bear market starts when everyone is screaming we can't go down and are moon bound, not when everybody is saying we're going to 70k. Classic shakeout. Very true. I also believe so. I also believe that. Okay. I do think that a recovery is brewing here. A major recovery for Bitcoin is on the cards, guys. Without a doubt. I do believe so. And there is some very, very good technical reasons why this zone is going to be extreme good support. Of course, supports are there to be broken. So we need proof of support. Right? We need proof of support. What is proof of support? Proof of support is testing the level and getting back above the level. That's proof of support, right? So the thing is, it would be nice eventually to test this solid level, and I would expect it to get some good support, okay? So we're going to have to wait and see eventually. And if it front runs all of this big major zone, after even sweeping this higher low at 98,500, it's going to be difficult, right? I would not expect a front run. I do think because we've come so low to almost test those lows of Tuesday, right? It's a relief rally. That's okay. I wouldn't hype into a long if we do get a bounce from here. I think there's a good chance that we do test those lows, right? So, and the main reason is because you have retraced to the 0.88 Fibonacci, okay? So regardless if you do get a bounce, I would be actually interested in looking for a short. I do think that another lower high here is very, very likely. I'm going to talk about the internal levels that we have here. I'm not sure if we are going to manage to reach 105k to roll over, and it might not even bounce to those levels. So, yeah, but there is some interesting shorts here on the lower time frame, okay? Let's dive in through higher time frame first of all. The importance of this range point of control, okay? Hello to everybody that is joining. Overall, it's still uptrending. Very true. Overall, it is still uptrending, despite that we have crossed the 50-week moving average, right? I have it on the chart, guys. Despite that we've crossed the 50 weekly moving average, which a lot of people are saying that, this is the confirmation that it's bear market. We will be going to lower levels in the next coming months, right? Expect a major multi-monthly downtrend on Bitcoin after crossing this 50 weekly moving average, right? Closing a weekly, which we have 2 days left. So we're probably going to close beneath it. Anyway, not that I would give it too much importance. Moving average is really just, really random for me. So we are bullish still on the higher time frame. Structurally, we are forming higher highs and higher lows. despite going to the mid 90k levels, even 80k levels, we would still be forming technically on the higher time frame a higher low. This is still structurally bullish, still on the higher time frame, right? Where we do have the most important zone, look no further. It is that big range point of control. I just pointed out in today's video update the importance of this zone. You know, the thing is how we trade it. How do we manage risk? That is the main question. You know, if we front run this zone, it's going to have to be it is what it is kind of thing, right? But if you do create some kind of a swing failure pattern, either from this higher low or this point of control at 96.4, I would want to see a good 4 hourly candle, right? 1 minute, 5 minute time frame to catch the exact level. I think there could be some choppiness here on the 5-15 minute time frame. It could wick beneath this level a couple of times, and it could chop out all of those people that want to long. I think with a good solid higher time frame candle close above it and then stop loss beneath the wick will be the best option, right, to actually get into this trade, to get that bigger relief rally, regardless if it's going to be a big pump in the next coming weeks or it's going to be a dead cat bounce. You know, we seriously don't know. We can go through the Elliot wave scenarios, but it is looking pretty good for a good relief rally at some point eventually. Okay, we're still downtrending. We need to talk about internal shorts, right? Not much volatility going on here on Bitcoin. Some altcoins are getting the volatility, such as ICP, Zcash, right? All of these ones have been getting the volatility in the next coming days to the upside in the last few days. So the importance of this point of control, guys, keeping Elliot wave out of the way, right? We don't want to go too complex. People, you know, do really struggle about the different scenarios and levels, and you know, they just see it boring. So we'll do a little bit of Elliot wave theory eventually, because it gives us a few scenarios. However, the importance of range point of controls, right? This just proves, based on the chart, the importance of this point of control, right? I would be, you know, could we front run the level and recover without getting down there? It is a $4,000 drop almost from current price levels. You know, so there's no need to hit that level, but if it is hit, it's going to be the guideline, and there will be a moment of decision taking, right, if anybody that is getting into any trade setups. But the importance of this point of control, I just want to show you, right, from these little ranges that we have, okay, after the pumps, pump, range, pump and range, what we can see, these point of controls did get very well respected. This one right over here, rejection, beautiful rejection there of several $1,000s. This one right over here, when you extend it, you got that beautiful bounce on the 17th of October, right over there. Big point of control right there from this range. So this is next level zone, right? This is a big range on the higher time frame, just below the first major higher low after this uptrend, right? It's the first big major higher low since this low of April. Very interesting zone. Very interesting zone to get that relief rally. Okay, we've talked about this. Nothing much has changed. This is the daily time frame. Now it's time to zoom in on the lower time frame. Considering Elliot wave theory here, there is, you know, this has been the all-time high. This has been the all-time high. Regardless, that I like to take a look at this high and combine a flat here, and then, you know, possibly forming a flat here and form a larger W, X, Y, and it just gets very complex. Maybe another flat later on, or a triangle. You know, it could be very rangy and very confusing, right? The range could continue here for many weeks, and there's several options when we take into consideration Elliot wave theory. But can this just be a regular zigzag? Because I got this on a comment on the live stream as well. Isn't this just a zigzag 3-wave structure? I mean, it definitely could. Okay, it definitely could be just a 3-wave move, ABC, just a simple ABC, right? Why do we need to complicate ourselves too much, right, with WXYs? This from the high, you got the major drop in a 5-wave move, a 3-wave move to the upside. Now we're forming the 5-wave move down. in an ABC, then, we're looking for that relief rally. Will it be impulsive or will it be corrective? That is the major question. So when we do take a look at this possible ABC, well, we need another low, because in a C wave of a zigzag, you need 5 waves, which we are just on the verge of completing. I have to say, a bounce from this region and then later on come down is very, very possible. And there is one simple reason why. It's timing. The timing of this wave 2 is longer than this wave 4. If this were to be the top of your wave 4, it's very, very quick in time. And wave 4s are usually longer than wave 2s in time. So yeah, maybe this range does continue and gets a little bounce before taking out that low. And this is why we need to take into consideration the most important zone of resistance. Where could that price form a lower high, right? Where could it get resistance and then roll down to claim the low and finally form a 5-wave move to the downside, where we are looking for our swing longs, right? If we do get a reaction from these lows. So eventually, a bounce from here to extend this wave 4 is without a doubt on the cards, right? It could be definitely on the cards here, and this is why we need to zoom in ever so slightly at the 15-minute time frame and consider the levels and the possibilities, right? What is interesting about this is today's levels. Today's levels, we got previous day point of control and previous day value area high, which is sitting above these highs right over here. This lower high that was created today is actually pretty interesting. It is an interesting level. We lost today previous day value area low and the daily open, right? Which is this horizontal line. When I do get the session volume profile, we can see how the price has lost this level, right? We've lost the previous day value area low and we got a little bit of a dip. Now the 0.88 is holding as support, right? That's pretty classic, where you're almost about to hit the lows and you suddenly get a relief rally right out of nowhere. This is a very, very hard level to either short or long, right? It's just kind of a no man's land level, really, when we consider trading. 0.88, yeah, you usually get a relief maybe for some aggressive scalpers. That 0.88 does get respected so many times, and that 0.88 right now is getting a bounce of just around about $1,000 in the last few hours. So I mean, yeah, you treat it as a scalp trade. I'm not too fond of that level. When you're so close to the lows, you just expect it to just roll over and create that dump. So it's holding that range. Previous day value levels. This was on the 30-minute time frame for some reason. We've got a high volume node. Yeah, on the 30-minute time frame, it's more relevant to get those previous value levels. But yeah, previous day value area low is very, very close with the daily open. That's why it's up together here. Getting above this level is eventually going to be, in my opinion, quite bullish, at least short term, to claim these highs over here. We got a big problem with this movement up and this movement down. They both look very corrective. They both look very, very corrective. And if this looks corrective and this looks corrective, this is not ideal for a wave 3 right there, wave 4 here, and then wave 5. Multiple 1-2s does not kind of fit here. Your second, third 1-2s are larger. It just looks like a confusing range where it could just extend for a little bit longer and maybe sweep up some local highs and then roll over. We are downtrending, right? There's no doubt about it, and it does look like that these lows could be claimed. Let's leave it that way. If it does bounce from here, it's a very, very difficult long, at least for me. I would say that I would prefer the price to go lower and just get on with it, claim the lows, and then we can get the reactions at these levels and start looking for longs in the next coming days if we do hold this zone. But right now, long in here when we're so close to the low and hitting the 0.88 Fibonacci, which decreases the probabilities here for a wave 2. If you're very bullish, right, and you want a major recovery, hitting 0.88 is decreasing the chances here for this to be a bullish structure to form a higher low. So this brings me to, okay, if there's low probability in this being bullish, what kind of corrections can be formed here? And this is where it gets a bit confusing. Yesterday, yes, we had the chance here to form a contracting diagonal, not the best looking one, 5-wave mover. It just doesn't look great. Okay, it does not look great. It's very, very choppy, lots of overlap here. Rather label this as a correction bounce, and this for the moment doesn't look like a multiple 1-2 to get a breakdown to the downside. So ultimately it definitely could. It could be 1-2, 1-2. This second 1-2 is much larger than the first one, and then breaking down. It just doesn't fit nicely. So what could happen is that you're forming a sideways complex correction, and then you roll over. All right, you finally, this is the kind of bounce that I would not trust if we were to get a bounce on Bitcoin here. Reclaim previous day value area low, the daily open, which eventually gives you the chance to get a little bit of a larger rally. I would actually be interested in shorting here in this zone or a swing failure pattern, because this looks very corrective. This does look corrective. This doesn't look like a major start of an impulse down. Obviously downtrending, you would give it priority. I would give it priority for this to be an impulse. But let's just say that if the price, the target zone for me is going to be the lows. There's no doubt about it. But out of speculation, if you did not short either here or here, this was not an easy short, in my opinion, right there. It's in the middle of the range in no man's land. You got this pivot low and this pivot high. I mean, you are downtrending, so it's in your best interest to look for day trade shorts instead of speculating on a reversal here consistently, for scalps or day trades, right? You follow the trend. Much better to speculate on a short in a downtrend, right, than in a long. Of course, longs as a swing trade on the higher time frame when we get into this zone is going to be very interesting. But the whole point here to basically, what if we do bounce from here, right? But the thing is that you need a question when I'm doing analysis and I'm planning a few different things is, what if we do bounce from here? What if the price suddenly gets a major rally? Can we trust this rally? And just by looking at how the price has moved in the last few days and retracing all the way down to the 0.88, I personally wouldn't trust this rally too much if it were to happen. So it's going to be interesting how it does happen, because this movement up, it looks very choppy corrective. This movement down still looks very choppy corrective. Ultimately, we are coming from a major downtrend. The problem is wave 4s can be complex. Wave 4s love to do sideways tricky, corrective moves in WXYs. So it's either we roll down and claim the low and we get on with it, right? Maybe get a breakdown of a few $1,000s. We are expecting that 4-hourly, daily candle even better, close above one of these levels, and then I would consider speculating on that swing long position, guys, right? Remaining patient. Anybody that wants to rush into longs, what if we bounce now? It is dangerous as we are downtrending, and we got a major reason that we are potentially forming one more fifth wave, okay? Especially after this choppiness coming to the 0.88. I'm just not interested in getting into a long here. If we were to bounce out of nowhere, right, and suddenly rally in the next 1 to 2 days, it would have to be a missed trade unless I see a major opportunity. If we move up like 5 wave, very corrective structure here and we channel, then I would say, yeah, I'm interested in a long. We'll have to join later on, but not from here. It would have to be somewhere in this zone when something is clear, right? That we're moving up impulsively here. And then we consider this, this long, even testing the highs, right? We would have to see some kind of a big, strong 5-wave corrective structure here again. And then we can consider 1, 2, 1, 2, right? This is looking better, guys. This is difficult to consider a 1 and 2. So if it's difficult to consider this a 1 and 2 at this point, just let it go. Let it go down or let it get a recovery till it's clear for the longs, right? If you're looking for shorts internally, it's better looking for day trade short scalps on the downtrend, right? So yeah, I mean, not interested in any longs here. We would have to claim the lows, and then from this pivot or this pivot, wait patiently. We don't want to be the first one entering, catching the low, because you don't know where the low is. You don't know where the reaction is going to start here. So that is super important, right? That to just be patient, right? If the price needs to reverse in the next coming days, it's going to get some holds, right? It's going to get back above it. It's going to get above these major levels. Looking at the 4-hourly time frame, some closes above. I do not expect a V-shaped recovery, right? There will be time to analyze the proof of support, right? This is the thing about traders. They want to get in right now on the falling knife to catch the lowest price possible. What if this range doesn't hold? What if the point of control of the range doesn't hold, right? You need to wait. You need to wait to see that proof of support. And if it does magically form a higher low from here, right, and does get a big strong pump, the problem with this pump, as mentioned in the last few days, it's not looking great, guys. We're looking for the sign of strength. This very much does not look too great for a sign of strength. You could give it a chance, but getting a impulsive move here or a motive wave it's not clear. And if it's not clear, you rather wait for the next wave to the upside, right? So ultimately, if we were to bounce from here magically, which is, for me, this is a no trade zone, at least in my terms, my analysis, I would have to wait for either breakdown, as mentioned, get that proof of support at that range, the point of control and the higher low of the 22nd of June, close 4-hourly candles. I wouldn't be in a rush to long here. Get that proof of support. If it is going to reverse, it's going to hold. It's going to reclaim the levels. You wait for that to happen. You don't want a price moving down here and holy crap, guys, we're breaking down. There's no long to be taken. We can talk about the analysis, but you need proof of the chart, proof of the price actually holding here, right? Muy importante. Because if it breaks down, who the heck wants to be in a long if you're breaking the point of control of that range of 2024 and 2025, right? Who the heck wants to long if you're breaking it down, but you're trading beneath the level? There's not that many levels. We'll be going down to the low 90K levels. So anybody that's using high leverage and is attempting to catch the lows here is going to get burned. So we want to see that proof of support. If it has to get supported, it will. And there'll be time to joining on along. So, right now, this is a no trade zone for me regarding longs, okay? Regarding longs, even shorts down here, wouldn't be too fussy about shorts. So if we were to get a strong bounce from here, just a few $100 by claiming this low, it's going to be, this happens to everybody, any trader out there, right? That you're like, I'm waiting for the lows to be claimed to then maybe long. And suddenly you get a higher low by just a few $100 from the next higher low. And the price really shows some interesting strength, right? It's actually moving up pretty insane. It might create that swing failure pattern here, but you ultimately form a 5-wave move to the upside here very, very aggressively. And that's where we want to consider multiple 1-2, right? Because, at the end of the day, this is the thing. I don't know what's going to happen. unfortunately, this movement is not clear for an impulse and for this to form a higher low here. It's not clear. We've come too low. It's just not interesting to be in any long at the moment, at least for me. What if it is going to be a higher low? Well, you need a sign of strength, okay? Because you have a good chance that it's going to claim that low with a local bounce and then down, or just down from here in the next coming hours to claim that low. It is Friday. Fridays have been very, very bearish throughout October, okay? So, this is what I would have to see, legends, okay? Unfortunately, because we do have, it's either this scenario where you just roll over, finish that fifth wave beneath the recent lows at 99K, just get it over with, or you form a magic higher low here, right? Trading is, the market makers are going to put it difficult for the people to take trading decisions responsibly. It's going to test your patience. And we just need to realize that, a higher low here is possible still, right? Why not? It could higher low. Getting into a long here responsibly with good risk management is a bit of a task. It's a little bit of a challenge, right? Do I put stop loss beneath this low? Or do I have a wide stop loss? Having wide stop loss, not the best idea, right? When you can, really break down from here, you're just going to you're asking to get stopped out. And this would be a very wide stop loss. So not the greatest level. So with the bullish case scenario that we did explain in the last few days, where from the lows of the 17th of October, you have a three-wave move up. And for the moment here, you do have a three-wave move down. A flat is possible. You are at the flat targets. And of course, getting into the wave 2 would be the ideal thing, right? Who doesn't want to be in a wave 2 when you're going to form 3, 4, 5 in the next, in the next week? If this is, this is at the B wave targets, right? 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 3, 8, 2 Fibonacci from your A wave. If we're considering this 3-wave move up, your A wave, and this 3-wave down, your B wave, it's at the B wave targets from an expanding flat, which is very, very common to hit in between the 1, 2, 3, 6 and the 1, 3, 8, 2. That's exactly where the price is, right? So the bullish case, in this case would be forming a higher low here. It's a cheeky higher low. It's at the 0.88. You do not prefer, obviously, wave 2s to get to the 0.88, but they do happen, okay? They do happen, so we would just give it a chance. So if the price would be bullish in this case, for that ABC flat, A wave, B wave, and then C wave, and major target zone would be potentially hitting 116k zone, right? Potentially getting above $116,000. Now the thing is, with this rally that we had from the lows, the movement is not too convincing to be a wave 1, okay? It's not too convincing to be a wave 1. This movement down is not too convincing to be impulsive. So it does look a bit corrective. So it's a little bit challenging. Maybe all of this is still correcting sideways, right? And then we just claim the low later on. So for the bullish case, on the scenario that we form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We do get to 116k in about a week or two. I would give it about a week approximately. You need to understand that there is potential for that, right? The problem is right now is that we do have this wave to the upside not being very clear. Unfortunately, it's not clear. We've retraced all the way down to the 0.88, so the probabilities are low for this scenario at this moment, which makes it very, very challenging, obviously, to take a long here. It's not in the strategy. It's not a good zone. Probabilities are low. So you wouldn't take the chance. Can it bounce? Yes, this is why we are covering this, guys. It can bounce. However, what happens if it is going to be bullish? Inside of wave 3, you do develop 5 waves, right? Inside of wave 3 on the 15-minute, 5-minute time frame, right? You do develop 5 waves. And, it will be in our best interest to try and detect if it is going to form a higher low, which I think is low probability, guys, but we're just going to cover it, right? We're just covering it. I'll talk about an internal short here because I think the price would reject in this area if it does bounce from a sideways WXY. But I just want to explain 1 2 1 2 3 4 5, right? The double 1 2 because your second 1 2 is part of your third wave. And we just have to wait for that sign of strength. Let's be honest. Long in here is like, yeah, not me. I'm not getting in a long here. Well, if it bounces, you're going to miss it. Well, no, because, I'll miss this low, but I would want to, identify the sign of strength. At the end of the day, in this pump, we would want to see some kind of a clearer 5-wave structure, not like this, which is it's a big mess. Okay, it's a big mess. There is a way to get a 5-waver here, but you're kind of pushing it. It's low probability, especially with this move down to the 0.88. So if it is going to be bullish, you need a good leg up in a 5-waver here that looks pretty solid, and this movement to the downside needs to be extremely choppy and corrective, coming down at local support levels, which we will identify in the next coming days. So you get the point, right? This is not clear to be a 1-2, not clear. So if it's not clear, and there is a good chance that we claim the lows, what is the plan? What would be the plan here? Well, the plan for me would be get that pretty strong 5-wave move up here, right? And then obviously look for the corrective structure. 1 2 1 2 and then 3 4 5, right? All of this is your third wave. So it's going to be a bit challenging, but that would be the only way of detecting that it's looking good for the price to go to higher levels. Of course, understanding that this might be a 3-wave corrective structure, and then the price really rolls down aggressively to claim the lows. This is why, even though the price were to look like it's coming up in a 5-waver, this could be an ABC, right? That's the problem. That does not take away this level right over here that was explained yesterday. 105.1k is a good swing failure pattern level for a intraday short entry. Sweeping up those highs of Wednesday and fair value gap with that order block with the 50% Fibonacci giving you a last chance here for that wave 4 internally, and this potentially being an ABC. Regardless if this is bullish 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 or if it's bearish ABC roll down, you're looking for a possible correction here of a couple of $1,000. So the trade is there regardless if it is going to end up being bullish or if it's going to end up being bearish if we were to get up there, right? This is how you combine Confluence with Elliot wave theory. You're going to have, a lot of combinations, and, you're going to get a little bit of, many scenarios that can confuse you. But at the end of the day, a lot of the scenarios, either bullish or bearish, will align. They will align for a pullback or a bounce, regardless if it's going to be bullish or bearish. So in this case, the Confluence zone does not change. I think we do have the anchored VWAP also from that pivot high, which is probably coming. Yeah, it's coming just at the golden pocket at the moment. So it might just roll down ever so slightly in the next 2 days. But yeah, anchored VWAP as well will be coming down from this pivot high that we formed on the 27th of October. It's not going to stay here. It will likely climb down between today and tomorrow into that 50% zone. So anchored VWAP, the Confluence, sweeping up that high. It's just a good level, 50%, order block highs, fair value gap. It's just that a zone to get the pullback. There's no doubt about it. So I'm interested in that short if we, regardless of the bullish case or the bearish one. Bullish one would be corrective structure, higher low, and then we rally. The bearish one would be eventually ABC, and we break down in the fifth wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this is the zone of rejection. It is the zone of rejection without a doubt, regardless of the bulls or the bears. So if we come up in a 5 waver, this is an interesting short, SFP of the 105.1k zone. Lots going on there based on technicals. Fair value gap 50% from this movement down. Anchored VWAP will be likely coming down to this zone in the next 24 hours. It's just a very, very good solid level. Now, of course, that short trade, has the potential if coming down to the low, or maybe the price does form that very overlappy channel-y structure that ends up looking very corrective. And that's where the difference is. If we can manage to detect that this movement down is corrective, well then obviously the speculation with your invalidation being this low of today at 99.4k is looking for a double 1-2, and double 1-2 even better, because that means that the third wave will be more explosive. Then you got another 4 in 5 that really has the good chance to take $116,000. So it's all about detecting when that sign of strength is coming in here, right? That would be the ideal scenario. Of course, the price could pump out here and rocket, and you're like, man, I was waiting for a little range pullback, for that double 1-2. This doesn't have to happen, but it could definitely happen, right? It could definitely happen. We got the level of resistance at 105.1, and this correction is something this could correct down if it were to form a higher low, guys, right? The price is looking bearish, and high probability that we do claim those lows, but this is just to make you understand that what if the price does create a higher low here, right? Because you need to have some alternatives on a lot of people just have 1 or 2 scenarios, and then obviously something completely different happens, and you're not ready for that completely different scenario. So as a technical analyst and trader, I do take a look at many, many different scenarios, and I am ready for one of them, right? So I'm ready if the price pumps to this zone. I'm ready if the price dumps to this area. What I need to see, 4-hourly candle closes above the point of control or that 22nd of June higher low. I want to see proof of support, then take the decision. It's looking good. If we come up here, I understand that this could still be an ABC, roll back down. I can understand it could be a 1-2, 1-2. If we chop around in a channel here, it's going to be looking bullish. So I'll be in favor of the double 1-2, and I'll be interested in looking for longs for that third wave breakout to then 4-5, 4-5. We're looking at 116k potentially, right? It's like a recovery out of nowhere, right? Recoveries happen when most of the people don't expect it, right? So could this happen? Absolutely yes. You just need to be ready. We need to be ready for the outcome and how the price could develop if it were to be bullish, because this to be a 1-2, it looks awful, guys. I'm going to be honest here. It doesn't look good. So long in here is, I'm not going to long here. This is not a level that I'm interested in longing. I'm either longing on the proof of support down here, or I'm longing on the sign of strength and clear corrective structure here that is formed after, getting that swing failure pattern from these highs, rejection, right? That's where I'm saying, guys, this is looking good for a double 1-2. So yeah, just, things that we need to be ready for, right? Things that we need to be ready for. Multiple 1-2s, they do happen. They can be challenging, but just, kind of take a look at this price action from the pivot low that we have from this major range. Big WXY, very, very confusing structure. This was a zigzag. You had a flat here, a potential triangle as well. There were several ways of counting this as a correction. But if you were to get this pivot low, or this being the pivot low, it doesn't really matter. You can see how the price is really, building up those multiple 1-2s. Okay. And this is what you need to detect as a correction. And you can clearly see that third wave down fails to go to lower prices and overlaps this pivot. That's the moment of either break of trend, stop loss at the low. You need to be ready for the multiple 1-2 outcome here to then break out in a third wave, right? We want to be in this momentum. So this is just the theory behind the double 1-2. So you really need, because obviously this could be a ABC and we roll over, and this is the channely 3-wave structure overlap that you need. You need, first of all, the third wave to fail to break, and as you fail to break, getting up to the highs is already your signal for a potential entry. So with that theory, of course, as the price is holding here, now the overall decision is, are we claiming the lows or not? Are we going to form a higher low, right? It's like, all these things about taking the decisions is when it's not clear. Unfortunately, it's not clear. I would say that there is a good chance that these lows are claimed. It's not a very interesting area to long. It's challenging to long here. But as explained, maybe the price does end up recovering here, and that would be the detection. Okay, boom, 5-wave up. It looks promising, but eventually you don't want to long here at resistance. I would be more interested in shorting, as explained, that fair value gap. Lower high resistance, 50%, anchored VWAP is coming down to the zone in the next 48 hours. It would be more interesting to short this zone for a scalp. And then this is the moment, right? 3-wave, boom, you're already getting that overlap of this pivot. It looks very corrective. This could be the moment it starts shooting up. That's your signal right there, right? That would be the ideal scenario, just explaining that price action that I, from over a year ago, that you would want to try and detect a multiple 1-2, right? So if nothing's clear, you need more information, right? This is the thing. If it's not clear to me, you retrace too much. I'm here to make money. I'm not here to say, well, I think it's going to bounce anyway, regardless. This is insane support, so it's going to hold. It's just long, right? No, I'm not, at the end of the day, I'm not sure, I think there's a good chance that we do hit these lows. I'm not sure if it's going to break down aggressively or not. So this is what, I would have to see in the bullish case. I wouldn't mind missing this movement, but I'll be very, very active to try and, detect that this is building up bullish market structure, and the movements down are very, very corrective before it gets the big breakout, right? The third wave, what we want to be in is in the third wave. Third wave, regardless if it's an ABC, it's a C wave, or it's a third wave, is the one that you want to be in, which is the one that makes the big move, right? Getting in before is very, very difficult, right? It's very, very complex. So, I mean, this would be the ideal scenario for the bullish case. I'm not going to be, playing around here saying it's going to bounce. It's not, this is for me, no good probability for me here. I understand it can bounce, but I would rather miss that bounce. I'm more in favor of the lows being claimed and breaking down, and then seeing the proof of support later on. Then we'll manage that later on. Okay, no rush to get into any longs down here. You want to see that proof of support, But if it were to bounce, that's what I would have to see, guys. I would have to clearly identify this as a correction. And then the double 1-2, that could be the golden ticket. But till this happens, we need a lot of information still. This is not a bullish, it doesn't look a bullish pump, and this does not look like a wave 2 retracing to the 0.88. So with that conclusion, you just need to understand it's better to wait for the lows to be claimed and see proof of support, or wait for the next leg up where we can, very much try and identify that it's a good 5-wave solid move, high volume in the middle in a wave 3, and then a corrective structure throughout the next coming days. Overlap, boom, boom, the third wave fails to go to lower prices and gets an epic bounce, overlapping this lower high, well getting above this low. That's the moment of detection that this movement down looks very corrective, and that's where we can take our chance to participate in this breakout. So I have to say that's going to be the only way. Either take out the lows, see proof of support, attempt to obviously catch low levels for an entry, because at the end of the day, I think it's good speculation that we could be bouncing at this point of control and this higher low of the 22nd of June, because when we do take a look at the rejection from the 27th of October highs at 116k, well, what we would be looking at is that potential wave 5, right? A double 1-2 here has low probability. This wave is longer than this one. You usually get overlap as well on your wave 2 and your first wave 1, which has not happened. And I think there's low probability in breaking down in a third wave here. So, but we would want to see proof of support. We would want to see proof of support, right? And what we're speculating on is a 5-wave move down, get proof of support here, close those candles above the range, and that's where we can identify, the possibility of moving up to sweep up some lower highs, right? Nice. It's just higher probability in that scenario, considering the waves and the amount of support that you have here to get that bounce to sweep up the lower highs that we formed in the last few days. Which is a nice pump of $5,000-$6,000. That's where I do see high probability. But we need that proof of support, right? Hear me out here, guys, because if price slices through, I don't want people saying, you said that we were going to bounce at the support. No, we need to bounce at the support. We need to get above and close 4-hourly candles above the support to realize it is support and then long. Right? So yeah, that's the thing here, guys. Super important that we maintain above these levels and close solid candles above this level after moving down, right? You need to get above this zone to consider that it is holding to get that bounce. And on the other side, I'm kind of feeling that I'm repeating myself. I need a 5-wave move up and a corrective structure to speculate on that double 1-2. 50% to the golden pocket zone is going to be the area, right, where we want to see that bounce. And then obviously when we overlap and identify this as a correction, once we get that bounce, we will understand that, this has a good chance that this could be it. This could be it. And that's the moment where you already want to be in the breakout, right? You already want to be in that breakout before it happens. So that's another way to identify this, guys, right? To get that movement up in this ABC flat, right? The C wave up. For the moment, it's not looking too great. So, coming down to the lows is, would be expected, at least the lows here to be tested of last Wednesday. If not, we would have to wait for that sign of strength. On the bearish side, if we were to, if we are looking this as this looks, it does look a bit more corrective. I would arguably discuss, you got a bit of a three waver here as well. If the price, you know, it could form a choppy WXY. This is why I do think that if you move up above this high, there is a chance that you do form, you know, an SFP, because you could be forming a zigzag up, zigzag down, and a flat here, which is very, very confusing for many. It's very, very confusing. But when you do Elliott wave theory, you realize you could be in a wave 4. Wave 4s are usually the most tricky ones. They like to be tricky and overlappy. A WXY here, you know, just out of the speculation is possible. And of course, that would be coming all the way up to the point of control of yesterday and the previous day value area high zone. I think the best shot here would be an SFP of these highs. But you got a bit of a zigzag up, zigzag down. If it were to pump up here, this could be a moment where you get bullish. And then obviously if you lose the breakout here of this high that we formed today, it could be a speculative short. Stop loss, look for the lows. We are downtrending at the day. This would be a day trade to the lows only. But you need that rejection from this lower high. From that lower high, we would need that rejection for this speculative WXY scenario. You got previous day point of control, previous day value area high at this zone, and then obviously you need the rejection to be confident to get into that short, not into the pump, right? Because it might be the bullish scenario, as explained, that does get these highs. If you do not reject from here, this would be kind of your short zone. Stop loss above the rejection. You want to join when it moves down. You don't want to join as it moves up, because it might break up. It's important to join the rejection. The same, you know, same as longs. You don't want to long as the price moves down. You want to long as the price is getting the moves up. That's when you want to try and join the sign of strength on the movements to the upside, not against the price. So you know, this is like, it's literally how you want to trade. Go with the price action, not against it. So you need the rejections or the bounces at zones to either get in the bounce or get into the rejection on a short. So yeah, that would be one scenario, rejection from this high for that flat, and then, you know, consider that possible rollover to claim the lows. That would be the shorting interest zone. And if the price does rally to the highs at 105, this is a good short anyway, regardless. If you do get the SFP, that area at 105.1, because that could be a bit of an ABC scenario here. Fair value gap, 50% from the highs to the lows. And anchored VWAP will be coming down in the next 24 hours. It's currently round about the golden pocket, very likely anchored VWAP from that pivot high. I would expect it coming down to this zone. It is a bit high at the moment. Hang on, my bad, it's not that one. It is from here. Yeah, anchored VWAP will likely be coming down here in the next coming hours. Yeah, 105.1 is the rejection area. So yeah, that's a bit what we got, guys. You know, if we do front run, we're getting a little bit of a bouncy action here. Not an easy long decision, I have to say. Let me know in the comment section, anybody that is short, long, what are you feeling aggressive with? Let me know down below, guys. It's a trap for the bears, and it's gonna bounce. It looks like it's gonna claim the low, but it's not, and we're gonna rally. You know, these are difficult higher lows to take, you know, but they do happen eventually. They do happen. And, you know, it's like, you know, you're just about to claim the lows. Most of the bears are looking for the lows, and most of the bulls do not feel confident in long in here, right? Which is, you know, my case right over here. You know, there's not much of confluence to take that trade. Let me know in the comment section down below, guys. I have 8 different longs open now. Absolutely awesome. Make sure to manage them very well. Hope you can manage 8 trades. I don't have that many trades usually open. Andy, what price would you consider buying more Chainlink? Wow, that's an interesting question. I've been buying my Chainlink mostly in between $5 and $9. So, yeah, I mean, I think Chainlink's around about is it $15 now or $16? Let's take a look at where Chainlink is at the moment. Yeah, under $15. Man, I think that's already a good DCA zone. Good DCA zone. This is like a long-term investment project, guys. You know, this is not. I do have some Chainlink, and I haven't even sold a single Chainlink, and I do have a significant amount of Chainlink, guys. You know, I'm taking this as a long-term thing. I'm really not. I wanted to sell some above $30, but we did not get there. But my average buying price has been in between 5 and 9. So I personally am not going to buy. But if you don't have any Chainlink, I think it's a good long-term investment. That's my personal opinion, of course. No financial advice. Let me know, guys. Anybody that you've got someone saying that's in eight different long positions. Byron, my man, much love. Thanks for joining the stream. I can see you joining once in a while. Much love to you, my man. Hope you have a great weekend. You and your loved ones are doing absolutely great. The same for everybody here, guys. ZEC is just a narrative play. The private Bitcoin. Yeah, XMR, which is Monero, I think is the leader in privacy, but Zcash has overtaken. They've probably done some upgrades or something, because it's overtaken the king of privacy, which has been Monero always. People are FOMOing in because they think, what if I got into BTC when it was under $1,000? Same halving, same 21 million coins, only faster and private. That's the thing. Monero has something very, very similar as well. Something very similar. Monero does have more circulation, more circulating supply. 18 million. That's infinite. That's the problem here about Monero. But Zcash, that's the thing. They did speculate back in the day that Monero, and still today, Monero is what Bitcoin was meant to be, and now apparently it is Zcash. Zcash is getting the attention now. Holy Matt, that's insane. That is seriously insane to get this massive, over 1,200% pump in a matter of 2 months. 21 million max supply. As Byron is saying, maybe a lot of people are saying, wow, it's probably the new Bitcoin. Stock market could have a 10% correction. It didn't have for a while. Everybody will be even more bearish, and then BTC might decouple again, and after claiming lows, rocket up. Very, very possible. Andy is brilliant, probably too brilliant. Anyone new to Elliot Wave might have their heads explode. Many would be more confused. Elliot Wave theory is powerful, but hard to understand for most. Yes, I do get a lot of people leaving the channel because they just don't want to go through this, all of this different scenarios and complex waves such as WXY and stuff like that. But once you get the hang of it and how to recognize signs of strength and signs of weakness, then it obviously gives you that edge as well. Okay, but it can be very, very confusing. All right, let's go. Andy, can you analyze the daily time frame of Ethereum? It does look like the fourth wave got below the 50% and even 618 Fibonacci level. Please let me know what's up. Yeah, we'll talk about Ethereum because Ethereum possibly already formed an impulse and the correction is just extending, which would be even more bullish. Because the movement down on Ethereum does look very, very corrective. However, when we do take a look at Ethereum here, if it wants to load, and I need to go through the altcoin that I do see very good potential, not only ICP. So we didn't swing failure pattern from this low successfully, not a daily candle above the level, trading beneath it. It's just not been a successful swing failure pattern. All right. Daily close beneath the level. We did hit, we hit the golden pocket. So that brings me one thing here that I discussed with Devil the other day, where, you know, potentially this has been your 5-wave move to the upside. And all of this is part of the correction from this entire move. So the speculation of Ethereum breaking out, like Raoul Pal and many other investors say, that it's going to absolutely explode and the 4-year cycle has extended and we're pumping into 2026. Just because this move down on Ethereum does look more corrective, even though if you move down in a three wave down, corrective up, 3-wave down, you could be forming some kind of a diagonal. You could be forming some kind of a diagonal here, which is definitely a problem. A diagonal move to the downside. A bull run needs to finish in 5 waves, which you can technically count here. I was more speculative on a 4th wave here forming, but that was not the case, as we did hit the invalidation. Move up here in a 5-waver. The problem is with 3-wave down, double zigzag up, this was also corrective. And then, you know, zigzag down here, possibly another move up and down. You know, you're looking for, well, maybe even a finished contracting diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The problem is, yeah, we're looking for a rally here, but it could have been the top of the bull run. It could have been the top of the bull run here for Ethereum, just under 5K. And you know, we just need to be very, very cautious on the movement up here, because there is a potential of a contracting diagonal here to the downside, which yeah, you know, it's just it is what it is. It is what it is, right? And any other corrective structures just need to be aware that there is a valid contracting diagonal. Obviously, we're looking for a relief pump here, the same as for Bitcoin. Same as Bitcoin analysis, we are looking for Bitcoin to hold this range based on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, proof of support, relief rally up, or bounce even from here. We are looking for some kind of relief here on Bitcoin. So naturally, you would be expecting that on Ethereum. On the bearish side, if you were to be formed a contracting diagonal here in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're obviously looking for that bounce, right? Very commonly gets to the 4th wave, which would be $4,200. So yeah, these lower highs is like your target area. So a bounce on Ethereum here, regardless of the bullish or bearish case, is very much a scenario that is likely. Also, you have from the all-time high zigzag down. This is counted very nicely as a double zigzag. You've got like 7 waves in here when you go to the 15 1-hourly time frame. There's a good 7-wave move up here, so it is counted as a double zigzag. And then you have this potentially also being a zigzag. So zigzag down, correction, zigzag down, double zigzag is also a possibility. So you have either the bearish case or the bullish one, which would be a WXY finishing in this zone. What does that mean? Well, that means that you are looking for a relief pump here to happen in the next coming weeks, right? So you connect the dots, you connect the bearish and bullish case. You know, unfortunately, we do have a bearish one at the moment, which is this contracting diagonal, but it doesn't really matter. I think the opportunity here is still there to get that relief pump, and it's in our best interest to detect if it is going to be a strong 5-wave move up into this zone in the next coming weeks, and then correction. Right, a bit of a channely bull flag situation, or are we going to move up in a rally, we correct, a rally, and then that rally is just really choppy, overlappy, and then we can really be in doubt that this is a correction moving up. So we're just gonna have to go level by level. But the good news is, regardless if it is a double zigzag or a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the probabilities from this zone to get a relief rally is there. So I would say that this is an interesting area for swing longs. Recovery for Ethereum in this zone is just very, very likely. Problem is invalidation, right? Trying to catch the low of the fifth wave of the contracting diagonal, or hang on a minute, we need to measure this, because it might not just be, yeah, it is okay. So yeah, for the contracting diagonal, you don't want to hit the 2,981, but for the double zigzag, I mean, we're probably hitting the common target area, which is the 1-to-1 to the 1-2-3-6. Yeah, we're literally in the zone for either the contracting diagonal end and the target of the double zigzag 1-2-3-6 zone. I mean, it is in the finished zone for either the contracting diagonal. Your wave 5 is shorter by a few $100 than your wave 3, so it needs to bounce here in the bearish case as well. And in the bullish case, you are hitting your major target if you're considering a zigzag correction, zigzag. So yeah, a bounce is very, very likely on Ethereum, I have to say. And it's in our best interest to detect if that bounce is going to be impulsive or corrective. It might take a couple of weeks, but like Bitcoin that has a good chance to hit 116k, Ethereum has a very, very good chance to be hitting 4,200, right? These lower highs right there. So yeah, that's a little bit it. I would say in validation, I would really put the 1.618 here. Yeah, just around about 2,900. You might test the lows again, just because Bitcoin can test the lows, or wait for a local double bottom as well. Because, when you zoom in on the lower time frame on Ethereum, it does look like we are literally forming a very, very similar structure than Bitcoin from this low, right? Which is, you got this 1, 2, 3, possible 4 and 5 to finish this wave. Ultimately, yeah, that's the thing. I think a double bottom here on Ethereum would be interesting, or your invalidation at 2,900, because a higher low is possible, just like Bitcoin, but it's just not. I think Bitcoin's going to take out the lows, and with Bitcoin having a good chance to take out the lows, I think obviously Ethereum could very likely follow. But yeah, either double bottom or higher low, and getting a relief rally in the next coming weeks is just highly likely. Okay, so what you need to do is manage your risk, position accordingly. If we start breaking the local lows, I wouldn't be too interested, but a double bottom here is without a doubt a good opportunity. Okay, anybody that is interested in trading responsibly, that BTCC is a great platform. If you don't know, now. They have hundreds of altcoins. You can trade stock market, S&P 500. You can trade gold there. $10,000 in rewards. The more you deposit and trade, you're going to get airdrops in the next coming weeks of thousands of dollars that will be used for any losses and also for the fees, guys. Take advantage of this bonus on Bluffing right now. There's 20% cashback, guys. Read the conditions here. You get 20% cashback on your deposit. Take advantage of that. You are eligible as soon as you sign up with the link down below, guys. First link, second link, take advantage, okay, to trade on these platforms. You only need an email and a password, all right, to trade on them. There is one altcoin that is popping out here. This is the one that I wanted to talk about that could have a similar outcome to ICP. Near Protocol, guys. Near Protocol is a very solid project. I'm sure a lot of you do know about Near Protocol. I'm sure a lot of you know about ICP by now. We've been talking about this one for months, almost over a year. And this was the main accumulation zone. And I think Near Protocol could form a similar scenario. And this is where the opportunities lie, guys. Okay, we don't want to be, having a plan ready. Obviously, long in Near Protocol, it's actually popping out very, very nicely, getting above the point of control. This is what I wanted to see. And at some point, okay, if this does continue to the upside, it's going to be in your best interest after this move up to see some kind of a rejection to backtest this zone. The target area, which I think is going to be very, very similar to ICP here on Near Protocol, is to sweep up the highs of this range of 2025 at $3.40. I think Near Protocol is cooking here to get to $3.40. How are we going to get up there is the question. Right? I mean, this is the thing. When these altcoins decide to start rallying, they do not stop. And if they stop at certain levels, and then they get a pretty aggressive rejection, just like ICP did a few days ago, which we did detect on stream. We were streaming as the price came down to $5 range. And I vocally said, guys, I think this is a good zone to get the bounce in the next coming days and get back above the recent highs of the wick here. And it took less than 24 hours. I did say a few days, but I mean, come on. When this wants to go, it goes. So the plan here for Near Protocol is really remaining a bit patient. Of course, when the price goes, it just really goes. Look at ICP. It's just been absolutely rocketing in the last few days. And obviously Near Protocol being such a solid, good project. I know a lot of you do know about Near Protocol if you've been in crypto long enough. And this one's getting a very, very solid pump in the last 2 days. Very, very solid one right now. And it is getting above the point of control of that entire range. As we're getting above this level, I would expect this to form some kind of a pullback at some point. I wouldn't be interested in shorts. I would be interested in longing, okay, to target the $3.40 zone. So it's a similar, there's no doubt in my mind that there is, at this point, you test the range lows. I mean, whoever got into the SFP a few days ago here at the lows is an absolute legend, right? Because you got a big range. SFPs of the lows of the range is always a good option. Even an SFP from here is a good option. Look at ICP, what it did once it got to the top of the range of 2025. It rejected, I don't know, was it about over 20%? Over 20%. I mean, that's a good entry point. I think, if you're interested in a quick day trade short for a big rejection, look no further. The range highs of 2025 is a good option. I would be more interested in the longs here. We are already getting back above the point of control of this entire zone. And, the overall plan is here on Near Protocol. I'm not sure where it could reject. It could swing failure pattern from this lower high of October. It could rally to get to the value area high. Maybe it misses getting up. I mean, this could be relatively quick, guys, right? We know the volatility when there's a tension on this. It could be very, very quick. In a nutshell, this would be the zone that I would be interested in a long position. Of course, we need to break above successfully. This could get an epic rejection from here. So you want that solid breakout, just like ICP did, right? ICP get a massive breakout from point of control and the range, value area low, tested the highs, and we were lucky for it to come down to visit the point of control and the value area low zone. Will Near Protocol do something similar? Because the overall target is the range highs with the potential of breaking out. Do you want a long Near Protocol right now? Because you're already seeing the sign of strength. Why wait for the retracement down if we're already at the zone? Well, I mean, this could still very much reject from here, right? But it is looking pretty promising. But you're literally getting into the pump. You're getting into the pump. I would rather see the rally and the movement down, and that rally is already getting above point of control, and then the correction is looking interesting to flip it as support, and then, you know, obviously test the lower highs. I think that's the target zone. That was the target zone a few days ago for ICP, but just a few hours later, when we were breaking up here, we already swept those highs of $6.30, right? So there are some, you need to set the alerts. There are some intraday scenarios and setups. Of course, the short here, you're shorting a possible big major recovery, but look no further. You know, this is a level of swing failure pattern, just like ICP. However, I would expect the price to break out later on in the next coming days if it does get that swing failure pattern here, or if it breaks up, it breaks up. But you need the rejection, aggressive entry, boom, possibly you get a very, very good strong pullback. But it's more interesting to look for the longs. Regardless if you reject from here or if you pump higher to the value area high and then move down, you might miss hitting the highs at $3.40. What we want to get is the back test of the point of control. You know, it's just very, very similar, and the target zone is going to be $3.40. So I think if you SFP from there, we're looking for the point of control, then back up. And if you do not hit that level and you reject at some point here, I would still be interested in looking for this point of control, that $2.40 zone, right? Give or take. You need to give it a bit of a zone to look for the longs to then get the breakout later on in the next coming weeks, guys. A lot of people are screaming bear market. Maybe this is the moment that we start getting the bull run when nobody's talking about altcoin bull run. Right? When do we get the altcoin season? When nobody's talking about the altcoin season, right? We've had the entire year of 2025, everybody calling and screaming for Q4 and October and Moonvember. And now people are not talking too much because everybody's like, oh my goodness, bear market, this is it. It's fearful. And then you get coins like ICP absolutely popping out of nowhere, right? Good projects inside of the high caps. This is the chance right now when, you know, a lot of people are not, more people talking about bearish scenarios than bullish. There are obviously some bull still, but yeah, when you've had the massive shakeout and the massive devastation, which was in October, then now, as we've had a nice healthy reset, right? We're not here all to make money, guys. There's going to be people that lose money. I was in negative here, but I held on. Now in the profit, well, yeah, now it's in your best interest to take your investment, leave a moon bag. Maybe the altcoin season is going to happen after all. Once you got this devastation move in October, right, on many altcoins. So I think it is the perfect moment to get some altcoins popping, and we want to take advantage of it, guys, of course, right? Much love to everybody. That's the thing about Near Protocol, okay? If this could reject from here, I want to see a solid breakout above this zone, and then let's see if we do get a rejection in the next couple of days. Overall target zone is $3.40. And I would expect a breakout, even though if you swing failure pattern, it does look promising, just like ICP got the breakout from the range highs. I think Near Protocol, it is time, guys. It is time. We swept the lows of the range, right? Range, sweep the lows. Next is sweep the highs. Much love to everybody. Enjoy your Friday. Thank you very much for joining. Much love. Thanks for ICP, my man. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you very much for the kind words. Make sure to destroy the like button, guys. Happy Friday to everybody. Let's do a like recount. We can get to 200 likes, guys, at least before we end the stream. Much love. I wish I could go through more. We'll be going through more later on a live stream later on this week, okay? Staffer1, much love. Bluffin 15%, 20% cashback right now. Okay, make sure to sign up with the link down below, guys. You do get insane bonuses, especially on BTCC as well. Much love to everybody. Okay, enjoy your weekend. I wish I could have gone through all of the comments. We'll do so in the next stream. I'll do my best. I think Near Protocol is bubbling up a good opportunity, guys, to get up to $3.40. Okay, manage your trades, stay safe. Congratulations to the one that got into ICP a few days ago at $5 retest. Let's see if Near Protocol can do a similar movement. It's a good project. The technicals look good. We've swept the lows. We're getting above point of control. Range highs is the target zone, guys, potentially in the next coming days. Much love to everybody. Trade safe. Stay safe. Happy weekend. And I'll see you in the next one.